Hey there, guys. It is currently about 10 till 6 on this Friday. I am home after work. I had to run in and get a few things actually after work, too. Um, I kind of have the house to myself right now. Wife is in one of the neighboring towns here for some work, community kind of stuff. I will say one thing about the area we live in. You know, we have, of course, the town that we live in, but it seems like, all around there's, all these little, towns and other things, kind of spread out. The one she's in is actually about 30 to 45-minute drive from where we live. So, that's where she is at right now. Should be home here within, like I said, a couple hours or so. But I've kind of got the house to myself at the time being. Not sure what I'm going to get into just yet. I've got some RC plane work I'm going to probably work on. I might show you guys a few little clips of that. And I've got some steak and shake again for dinner. I originally wasn't going to get dinner, but I couldn't. I mean, steak and shake. I guess I was in the mood for a milkshake. So, especially with it being kind of warm, outside and stuff. It's a real nice day. So, pick me up some steak and shake. I'll have that for dinner. Work on my plane a little bit. And, I don't have much anything else. Wait till she gets home. I don't know, this weekend we haven't really made much of any plans. We are going to probably go out and visit my mom sometime this weekend. If you guys recall one of my earlier videos, she is retired, so she's enjoying the good life right now, where she doesn't really even have a work schedule to deal with. It must be nice. So we're going to go visit her this weekend sometime. I might try to sneak a shot of my little sneak peek of my mom there. My mom is not big with cameras. She hates the camera. She tries to avoid it at all costs, so I'll see if I can sneak in a little bit. But anyways, let me get eating some grub and get some plane work done and just see what happens. I don't know, man. Alright, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and just show you all a little bit about the RC plane stuff and what I do here. This is kind of a project I'm currently working on. And I'm going to show you guys basically some of the electronic stuff, the electronic side of things. First and foremost, you of course need your main transmitter or controller, as a lot of people will call them too. This is what's going to take your inputs and make the plane do whatever it needs to do. With any transmitter controller, the next thing you need is the receiver. And it's got some pins right here. This is what your different things will plug into. Now, on a RC plane, your control surfaces like your ailerons, rudders, and things like that. Just to give you an example here, like this thing right here, which helps control the plane. Those are controlled by a thing called a servo. This is what a servo basically looks like. It basically just goes kind of back and forth. Now what it is that of course is plugged into the receiver here, and off of a servo there is usually some sort of metal push, or a metal rod, or push rod as they call them, that goes to that particular control surface to allow it to move. So I'm going to move the sticks here and show you guys what a servo is going to do when it moves. So that's the purpose of a servo. It hooks up to your control surface to actually make it move. The thing you see on here is called a control horn, or a servo arm, and these come in different sizes and shapes and things like that. So there's your servo. And I've got some other servos here as well. These don't have the arms on them just yet. So, but if you see, you'll probably hear me hear it move here. So that's your servos. Now, of course, all this, wires and stuff here is going to go, of course, inside the plane once the plane's finished. And probably kind of cleaned up and everything, so it won't look quite as messy. Excuse me. Of course, the next big thing you need, of course, for your to power the actual plane itself and the receiver is your battery, which is right here. RC planes commonly use what is known as a LiPo, lithium polymer battery. And really, LiPo batteries are very common. I think even a lot of cell phones nowadays use them, and then other devices and things too. So they're very common types of batteries. As long as you take care of them, they're fine. But if you do not take care of them, they can catch fire and be very dangerous. So always got to make sure to be safe around those. Okay, now the next big thing here is the actual propulsion part of it, or the motors. Now the motors come in a couple different pieces here. Now this is actually a two-prop plane, so there's two motors here. This one and this one. But there's mainly two main components of the actual motor part of the whole thing. First and foremost is the motor itself. The next thing, what you see back here, is the speed controller. Now these are rated at different power ratings and everything, depending on how powerful you want your plane to be. And the speed controller will then hook into the receiver here, and that's what will control that. Now the speed controller's purpose mainly is to take the controls from the receiver, as far as the throttle controls, and it turns it into electrical pulses for the motor to actually move. And like I said, there's different power ratings and things for the speed controllers. There's some that are much smaller than this, and there's some that are much bigger than this. So, and of course, the motors come in different sizes as well. For those of you guys that are into drones, even drones have, of course, motors just like this and speed controllers as well. So that's kind of the whole part of the motor propulsion part of it. Kind of back in the old days, and they still do it nowadays, that some of the larger RC planes will actually use a fuel. Sometimes a sort of hybrid fuel, sometimes called glow fuel, and some even actually just use regular gasoline. But let me go ahead and demonstrate the motor thing here, since I have it plugged up. Like I said, this is a dual motor plane that I'm working on. So you kind of hear the motors going there. There's one. Here's the, let me back up here. So you kind of see both of them spinning up there. So that's kind of the basics as far as the electronics in RC planes. So you guys can kind of see what it is that I do. Like I said, this is kind of an airframe that I'm working on, and hope to have it flying here pretty soon. I was kind of just testing the electronics here to make sure everything was working before I get too far ahead with it. So I thought it'd be a good chance to kind of show you guys as well what all is involved with these things. And these are just these servos and things here really just control just the main maneuverability of a plane. There are some servos that'll control stuff like landing gear and other advanced things as well. So, but anyways, that is the main electrical components of an RC plane. Oh, something else I didn't mention here as well. The controllers and transmitters come in all sorts of different types and what you can do with them. This particular brand here, it's kind of like you have to stick with it with your manufacturer, so to speak. This is a Spectrum transmitter, and this will basically bind with any type of Spectrum compatible receiver. So, essentially what that also means too is that, as long as I have a Spectrum, compatible receiver like this one, I can use this same controller to control many types of planes. So, this is a kind of a more advanced transmitter. You can store multiple planes in it, and it'll do helicopters, drones, things like that too. So this will do all those. So, this isn't just just attached to one airplane or helicopter. This can actually be used to control multiple ones. So that's one of the really cool things about these computer-based transmitters or controllers. And it's really a simple process. Once you go in here and select your model and everything, there's a process called binding, and that's actually what will allow you to talk to that particular receiver. So it's a quick little process, but like I said, it lets you use the same transmitter to control multiple planes. Of course, unfortunately, not all at the same time. So, and of course, I won't go into too much detail here, but there are just all kinds of different functions and things built into this that lets me have a crazy amount of controllability over like how the servos respond, how the motors respond, just all kinds of options that I can do with this. Oh, hey there, guys. I was kind of testing the electronics on this thing, so it kind of gave me a good chance to sort of show you guys, like I said, what all goes into these things. They're actually pretty complicated, as you can kind of see. But for any of those who are wondering about it or just wanted to kind of see a little bit of what I do, I thought that would kind of give you all a good little chance to sort of see it there. And really, like I said, this one I hadn't really tested the electronics in it yet. I mean, you could very well, get a bad part, and then not realize it unless you test it first. So, like I said, it gave me a good chance to sort of test everything here and make sure it was going to work out okay. Which all servos were moving, motors were doing okay, so it'll be fine. So I can go ahead and continue working on it, and I'll have to stop and order something new, or order a replacement part or something like that. So, well, it's all looks good. Okay, well, that is all for me. I do want to thank you guys for watching. I didn't show the steak and shake because it really didn't last that long. It got devoured pretty quick. So, but like I said, anyways, thank you guys for watching. Remember, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything, and I will see you in the next video.